Welcome to the AMATIC 2018 webinar series. My name is Julie Gunkelman, and I'll be your host for today's webinar, which is So You Want to Be an AMATIC Student Math League Moderator. We are here today with Stephen Hundert, and I do have to mention that the views expressed by the presenter are not necessarily the views of AMATIC, although since he's talking about an AMATIC program, it probably doesn't apply. Commercial products mentioned by the presenters are not endorsed by AMATIC. Our sponsor is McGraw-Hill. Thank you very much for sponsoring our webinar series this year. And without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and turn this over to Stephen.
All right, thank you. I guess I don't see myself.
You will. I just had to hit the button.
Okay, now I do see myself. Okay, so my name is Steve Hundert, and I'm the National Coordinator for the AMATIC Student Math League. And so I'm trying to encourage you, if you don't have a student math league on your campus, to do that. And so I'd ask you if you've ever watched the NCAA basketball tournament and seen the behavior of the coaches on the sidelines and thought, you know, as a mathematics professor, how can I get involved in something like that? Well, I'd say, have you considered being a local moderator for the AMATIC Student Math League? Because it's pretty much the same thing, except for the lack of the TV cameras. We don't have those on it. But other than that, it's kind of a fun experience. The AMATIC Student Math League competition consists of questions that not only require mathematical knowledge and ability, but often require a lot of creative reasoning. So it'll give your students an opportunity to test their abilities and see how they stack up against students from around the nation. I always think it's a lot of fun when the test is over to see the students gathering out in the hall, discussing the questions on it, asking about answers, asking the coaches how to do problems, as well as sometimes showing us how to do problems. So it's a good experience that way. The competition itself consists of a 20-question multiple choice exam that the students take as individuals, but they compete both as individuals and as a team. There's no limit on the number of students that can participate. Your school's team, the official team, consists of whatever the top 5 scores are at your school for that particular round. And since there are 2 rounds, one each semester, you need not have the same students as your official team each semester. In fact, it would be kind of surprising if you did. You may have some overlap, but often get different students on the different rounds. And although it's a multiple choice test, guessing is not generally a good idea, because the way the test is graded. The way the test is graded is for every correct answer they get, you get positive 2 points. If you leave a question blank, you get 0 points. And if you get a question incorrect, then you get minus ½ a point. So guessing, randomly guessing without any knowledge about the question, generally lowers scores, not raises them. So for a school to be able to participate, the league, in the league requires a faculty member to volunteer to be the local moderator, which would be you. So you may be wondering, how much and what type of work am I volunteering to do? And I'm going to describe that for you today. And all the information you really need can be found on the AMATIC website. So that's why you don't need to take a lot of notes here. We'll look at the website a little bit, and I'll show you where you can find the information as well as going through it with you today. And as a timeline, the first thing you need to do, starting in late August, you'll need to register your school. You may do this online through the AMATIC website. However, you'll need to log in not using your personal login, but your school's login, which is a little bit different. And your department chair may know your school's login. If not, you can get it by emailing Beverly Vance in the AMATIC office, and she'll be happy to send that to you. And then you'll be able to get to the online registration form. So if you register, if you go in with your own, you're not going to be able to get to that form. But Beverly Vance, and her information is also on the AMATIC website, is a great resource for any information you need. You can certainly contact me, and I'll try to answer questions. But if you really need to get things done, Beverly is great at doing that. So you would go there and register, and the registration starts probably in mid to late August and goes through September 30th if you don't want to get involved with a late fee. And if your school happens to be an institutional member already, there's no fee to join the Student Math League. If your school's not an institutional member, it really should be, but if it's not, then you'll have to pay, I'm looking up, $35 to participate in the Student Math League. And if somehow you forget to register by September 30th, you still have one more month to register between September 30th and October 31st, but there you'll get charged with a $15 late fee. So it would be really good to register before that. But after October 31st, that's when the registration closes, and you'll no longer be able to participate that in round one that year. So you want to make sure you get that done. The Student Math League has 2 rounds, as mentioned, each year, one in the fall semester and one in the spring. And you're provided each round with a 3-week window in which to administer the test. And you, as the moderator, get to choose the day and time. That's not something that's sent down to you. You get to do that yourself. And although each student has 1 hour to complete the test, it's a time test, you can schedule a 2-hour block of time to administer the test. That gives the students a little bit of flexibility when they can arrive. For instance, my school, we usually do it on a Friday evening from 5 to 7. So hopefully the students can get there by 6 p.m. and then they'd have the full hour to do it. If your school has multiple campuses, the test can be given at each campus, but should be given at the same day and the same time in all campuses. The dates I planned, I don't have to write this down either, it'll be on the website. Round 1 window is going to run from Friday, October 12th through Saturday, November 2nd. And the second round window will go from Friday, February 8th through Saturday, March 2nd. And then you, along with other members of your department, get to recruit the players for your team. And so you should remember that there are no limits on how many students may participate, since only the top 5 scores really make your official team. So a student who doesn't do well would never hurt the score. I know I sometimes get students who say, I don't want to play on the team because I don't want to hurt the team's score. But I tell them that's not going to happen. So whatever the top 5 are only scores that really count in terms of the way you're compared to other schools. Let's see what else I have. To be able to be part of your official team, a player has certain requirements they have to meet. Requirements are they have to be taking at least 1 class in something at your school. Doesn't have to be a math class. And they cannot have a degree beyond a high school diploma from any school in the world, in any field, at any time. In addition, they cannot have reached junior status or higher at a 4-year school. So if you're like a lot of schools where there are 4-year schools in your area, and some students take classes at your school as well as their 4-year school, you have to be careful not to violate those requirements to be part of your official team. They can still certainly participate in the competition. You just can't use them as part of your score. Calculators are permitted, provided they do not have a QWERTY keyboard, in other words, typewriter keyboard. And then about a week before the testing window opens, you'll receive an email from me with the exam itself, an answer sheet, and instructions for administering the test. And then after a couple of days, after the window closes, you'll get another email from me with the answer key. And yes, you are the ones who get to grade the test. It is a multiple choice test, so it's not too onerous a task to grade them. And I would hope that you would have a colleague check your work, since I'm going to check your work as well, and it's really nice when there aren't any mistakes, and we all make them. So once you grade the test, you'll get to do 2 things. You get to post some of the top 5 scores on the AMATIC scoreboard, and we'll look at that on the website as well. You'll get a password that lets you get into that scoreboard, and then you can post about the top, say, 7 scores from your school, and then you get to mail those same, say, top 7 tests to me to check to make sure that they are correctly scored. Thanks. The scoreboard also has a place where they have reports, and the reports are nice so that you can look up how your school compared to other schools in the region, see how your school fit into other schools in the nation, and you can also do that as team scores as well as individual scores. Also, at the end of the year, the test development committee is going to ask you to create some problems for future student math league competition exams. And hopefully you'll be able to come up with at least one or two questions that you think might be appropriate for the exam. As incentives to get students to participate, also your top students sometimes are the hardest ones to get to come out. There are some prizes and awards that are given out. As the local moderator, you get to give out certificates of merit, which are provided by the Student Math League. You get by email a little PDF that you can print out and give to the students. Nice things for them to have. The Association for Women in Mathematics provides memberships for the top 10 women in the nation. U Alpha Theta provides copies of Mathematica to the top 10 players in the nation. And then AMATIC has a bunch of awards. AMATIC awards a plaque to the top 5 teams in the nation. AMATIC awards a plaque to the top team in each region in the country. AMATIC awards a plaque and a $50 Amazon gift card to the top player in each region. And AMATIC awards a plaque and a $100 Amazon gift card to players who come in between 2 and 10 in the nation. And then the very top player in the nation receives our grand prize, which is a plaque from AMATIC and a $3,000 scholarship from Pearson Publishing. And that $3,000 scholarship really goes directly to a school, not to the individual directly, but a nice scholarship to have. There are some additional eligibility requirements for the grand prize. So read them here. In addition to meeting the general eligibility requirements, the student must have successfully completed a minimum of 12 semester hours or equivalent quarter hours of college work by the end of the exam, including courses in progress at the time of the exam, which are completed successfully. Students enrolled in four-year institutions or in high schools at the time of the competition are not eligible. And that's not too unusual for us to have a high school student be the top student in the nation. But the grand prize is reserved for students who are just taking classes at community colleges. And students who previously received the award would not be eligible as well. And then official transcripts and a letter signed by the student and local moderator certifying eligibility will be required in order to award the prize. So one of the challenges, as I mentioned, is to get your best students to participate. And the instructors, some strategies that instructors use at many schools offer extra credit. That's what we use as incentive to get students to participate. And since students will do almost anything for extra credit, this can be a fairly effective way of getting them to come out. Many schools also provide food as additional incentive to boost participation. We do that at my school. My school, I've also, one way to get some money to provide things like food is to make my team into a club. So we're an official club at the school, which allows us to get funds. And one of the other things I'm able to do with that, since the student government gives us some funds, is to get some t-shirts. I'm wearing one of our t-shirts. This is our student logo, which the student came up with. It says, my school is College of Southern Maryland. I don't know if you can see this in the camera. Probably not that well. It says CSM. Instead of the S, they put an integral sign and had math team as the logo. And then they come up with, usually another coach and I come up with the little phrase or clever idea we put on the shirt. But this year we did get a student to finally come up with one. He came up with the idea that we should say 2 wrong skins don't make a right skin, which I thought was pretty clever. That's a way to get some fun into the school, into the team, and maybe help get recruiting. As a way to help students prepare for the competition itself, many schools also run practices to help students get ready for the competition. And a resource for this are previous Student Math League exams. These are available on the AMATIC website, and you'll find questions, the answer key, and solutions to previously given exams. So you can use that, print them out, give them to the students, let them work on them, and get an idea of the kinds of things that are on the Student Math League competitions. So I thought I'd go through the website with you, so see how this works. I'm going to try to share the screen. Where is it's supposed to be sitting there it is. So this is the AMATIC website that I would imagine all of you have seen at one time. And if you haven't used this part of it, hold on. There's a tab that says Student Math League. If I click on that, we'll get to the Student Math League page. And there's lots of things here. They have lists of past champions, past individual champions, our grand prize winners. Our grand prize is called the Charles Miller Memorial Scholarship. And then things that you would probably use the most are, could look at the SML rules. Get the official rules. I kind of went through some of them with you. Here they are all listed for you. And then here's the registration. And so I would expect you'd want to do it online. That's certainly the easiest way. If I click on that, I don't think I'll be able to do that today. It says that the Student Math League online registration is closed. So I can't do that one. But I can show you the form. If we go to the same form, it's the PDF version of it. And so if you wanted to do it this way, fill it out and fax it or mail it in, you have that option as well. You can see it's not a very long form. That's the registration form. And I was referring to is the competition questions. Here we have competition questions. And since this is what you, a student who would come to the AMATIC website, you're not a bad idea to tell them there, they can just get these few exams, fairly old ones, and has the exam itself, and just the key is just the answers themselves. Where you as a member of AMATIC, if you log in, and I've already logged in, you can go to more recent questions, and you get some more tests, more of the recent tests, and not only just the answer key, but some short answers. So gives you solutions to problems that you could have some problem solving, since the questions are quite challenging. So it's sometimes very helpful to have those short answers when a student says, how do you do this one? And you try it for a while and get stuck. So these go to the short answers can help you with that. So that's pretty much all I had planned for today. And so I was going to open it up, use the majority of this time to have questions and answers.
So Beverly said she could turn on the registration if you wanted to show it. Do you want her to do that? Because she's on the webinar.
I don't think that's really necessary, since you know, they saw the form and know where to find it. It's not going to give them much else.
Okay.
So let's see if we have any questions.
I'm looking. So you mentioned multi-campuses. So I'm from a multi-campus college. So giving it at the same day and time is fine.
Yes.
Yeah.
I'm at a multiple campus as well. We give the exam at 3 different campuses, same days and times. So gets other people involved, which is necessary, but fun too. Yeah.
It is pretty fun, I have to say. When I was a moderator, we did have pizza, so we had that incentive, and a lot of our instructors offer extra credit as well. But it's really fun to sit around with the students and talk about the problems. And I would, you know, sometimes I would flub it on purpose. Sometimes it wouldn't be on purpose. And they would talk me into, you know, what their answers were. It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice to see the students, you know, actually talking about mathematics.
Exactly.
Not just getting ready for a test, but actually talking about, well, you know, how do you solve this kind of problem? And they're not standard problems, which is
definitely not. Definitely not. So some people joined since we've been on this. So if they had specific questions, I mean, I was asking people if they were moderators or not. I didn't know if we attracted any past moderators or if they were all newbies that joined us today. But no question's a bad question, and I won't out you. I just have to read the question so that it's documented in the recording. Don't be afraid to ask one. So, I mean, we had a lot of students that would guess, even though I told them not to guess, they would guess. So how do you coach students not to do that?
Well, yeah, that is something that we say during all of our practices, and then
Yeah.
before the test starts, we always remind them that, guessing, you're going to get negative points for questions you answer incorrectly, and the savvy ones, I guess I would say, or careful ones, realize that and don't do it. And then we always get somebody that, when we see a test with every question answered, that's not going to be a good one.
Exactly. I know. It's really smart to skip some of those.
Yeah, because they're going to be ones they can't do. And
Um,
I did mention this, but I saw Beverly mention the idea that should remind anyone who's going to be a new moderator, or even some of the old ones, that when they go to register for the Student Math League, they need to use their institutional login and password to do that. And so you can get that college's username and password, and Beverly Vance would be happy to send that to you if you don't have one.
right. I know I mess that up almost all the time because I'm like, wait, who am I? Am I OCP? Because I'm the one who does it. I register our school for it, even though I'm not the moderator anymore, and I'm usually logged in half the time. Oh,
Yeah.
yes, someone else forgets to do that about every year too. That's good. It's not just me.
No, it's not just you, but
I
you
know.
get the error message that says you're not eligible to get to this point. Then
Exactly.
usually say, why aren't I eligible? Oh, yeah.
Exactly. I
The
usually
first
have
time you do
I
that.
have to beg Beverly for help a lot. So definitely, it's not an uncommon thing. And she said, no, not a problem. We're glad to help, which is awesome because she is always very helpful. So what else have we got here? We got nothing? Nobody has any questions?
I guess I was just so thorough that they.
You were so awesome that
Yeah.
there probably aren't any questions.
Well, as I said during it, I don't think it's a tremendous amount of work. So you're not volunteering for something that's going to keep you tremendously busy.
Right. So your students possibly aren't in your class. How do you keep in communication with them? What do you do?
Well, we have a little online registration form, I guess,
Okay.
and so they register that way, and we have an email from them that way, and can contact them via email.
Right. Right. I did that too. And then I started using Remind so
Mhm.
that I could, because I was getting, I would remind the students that weren't even on our campus. So Remind is a free text messaging service, and it actually does it pushes a message now with all the apps. And I would remind them like when to come and which campus you're going to, depending on which room you're going to. And even though I had help, with other moderators to actually proctor the test, I kind of ran all that from the one campus.
Mhm.
So I used that. Let's see.
Beverly just made a comment that's a good one to know, that students can't decide they want to play all by themselves. They really need a moderator, so they do need you.
Right.
We've had students who have said, I really want to play, and they tell them to go find a faculty member. And in fact, we had one who ended up being our grand prize winner who did it that way.
Really?
Yes.
The student drove the process to get.
Drove the process, and he was the best in the entire nation.
Oh my
It
gosh.
really worked out for him.
Yes, I just got a little chill. That is awesome. That is awesome.
Sometimes the students are more enthusiastic than we are.
It is nice to see. It is nice to see.
Yeah, and it's great when, because your students will come up to you and say, how do I get extra credit in this class?
Right.
The thing they want more than anything else.
Yeah.
Rather than doing the regular credit, they're much more excited about the extra credit.
It is true. So how do you give extra credit on a test that's so hard?
Well, the way we do it is to try to make them work hard is we give them whatever score they get on the math team exam, or at least most of us are willing to do this, to give them that number of points added to one test. So
Okay.
let's say a 10, that would boost them a letter grade, and
Yeah,
our incentive to get them to come out and really try hard on the test.
that's
If you
huge.
just give them points for coming, then they may not work too hard, then they sign their name and leave.
Right, right.
Like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Beverly did say that if students do contact the office, they try to at least connect them with somebody on their campus or a department chair.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is good because sometimes students don't know like who to ask either.
And
Definitely.
we generally are very good about getting our faculty is very helpful. I think you'll find that's truly true at most colleges. If you ask your faculty, especially the ones in the math department, to announce it to their class and encourage them to give us some extra credit,
Right.
they'll usually do that. I'm fortunate that our school is so small. My campus is division is math, physics, and engineering. So we're all one department, so we can get physics and engineering students in there too. And of course, they're great at this.
Awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, it's great for engineers, problem solving.
Exactly. Exactly.
So,
All right. This could be the world record for the shortest webinar, people. Do you guys have any questions?
I knew I didn't have a lot to say, but
Yeah, no, but I'm kind of filibustering here. Oh, we've got
can
a
we look at an
question. Can
old
we?
test? Sure, we can do
Yeah,
that.
yeah. That would be awesome.
Here's from fall 2016. So here's the test. And you can look at the problems. They usually start out, I would say there's 2 pages to the test always. And generally, the first page has problems that I think are more accessible to the majority of students that take it. But it's hard to say which ones are going to strike them as the easier and harder questions on any test. And then page 2 generally I would say, are less accessible to the majority of students. But again, there's no hard and fast rules to which ones they'll find easier and harder. So there's a location for a past test. And then you get the answer key, which certainly is just the answers themselves, since it's multiple choice. And then a very helpful thing to the students and sometimes to faculty as well are solutions. So here are short answers, how to solve every problem on the test.
That's nice. Is that newer?
This is newer. I know Sue Strickland always did them. She has them probably nicer than those. She typed them. Let's see, it's some short answers from back in 2011. She has them nicely typed up. And she spent a lot of time typing them. I've been very fortunate to look up his name. I can't think of his name off the top of my head. The person who's been sending me the answers, and he has them written out. And so I've just been using his without going through the trouble of typing them up. So I've been a little bit on the lazy side. But at least you have the answers.
Right.
Worked out.
Right. Awesome.
I don't know if anyone wants to do more with the test than that. Make you do the problems.
Yeah. Wait, we didn't tell them it was going to be a test.
Right. Didn't tell them they were going to have to.
Exactly. Exactly. Oh dear. Well, I don't know. Oh, we do have one more thing. Just a thank you, which is awesome. Thank you very much, Steve, for agreeing to do this today and walking us through the process and documenting that, which I think will be helpful. I know people do come back and watch the recording, so that would be great. I do have to wrap up. I'm going to actually stop the recording and do the wrap up.
Okay.
So you guys can't leave yet.